Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with Earl Persip, one of our at-large city councilors. Earl, thank you for taking the time to do this tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And Earl, for those, I guess, who don't know you, you are running for re-election this year. Is how many terms have you served already on the city council?
I'm finishing up my second term, so my fourth year, and I'm asking to be reelected for my third term.
Okay. And I know we're coming out of a crazy time and everything. Have you finally there you go. Have you finally had a chance to be able to get out and start door knocking or engaging in person again?
A little bit at a time. I'm taking it easy because I have a toddler at home who's not vaccinated. I'm vaccinated, but and my wife is, but our toddler is obviously too young. So I'm very careful about the events I choose to go to and how much door knocking I'm doing. Kind of when I'm going to knock on doors, it's more of a standoffish more than I really would like, but we're taking it easy. It's a new world campaigning in a pandemic, but we're getting it done.
And you and me were talking before this, and I was just saying to you that I believe this next council has got some of the biggest decisions coming that Pittsfield has seen in a long time. Are there any particular issues that you're hearing or things that are at the forefront of your campaign this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the ARPA funds coming in, that's a lot of money coming into the city. It's going to be a shot to our economics here within the city. So it's really getting people to understand what those funds can be used for, because we just can't do whatever we want with them. And so right now there's a study group out there. There's been a couple community meetings about the funds. There's a survey been out there about the funds. So I'm waiting to hear back about those results and what the people are thinking. I've heard a lot of ideas out there when people are, speaking with people, and some of them are awesome and some of them just don't qualify for the funds. And so, I think one of the things I'd like to see get addressed with those funds, one of many things, is housing. I think that's important. Some infrastructure, I think, is important. That lost revenue from COVID, getting that back into the swing of things, being able to use those funds. So those are kind of some of the highlights I'd like to see, but I'm also going to wait and see what the study group came up with, what the survey says, and what kind of the input from the community meetings was. So,
okay. And so are you mainly using right now maybe social media and phone to engage with your constituents?
Social media, basically, that's a big thing. I think people don't answer the phone anymore really like they used to, just like they don't answer the door like they used to. It's door knocking can be tough because people are always thrown off when they get an unexpected knock at the door. I know I am sometimes, and same with the phone, but we get it done. I try to go to events where we'll see some people and be able to talk to people. And, the good thing about being an incumbent, people kind of already know how to bend your ear, let's say, and get a hold of you and talk to you. So that's always helpful.
Yeah. And some of the things I'm hearing a lot, and they're, like I said, they're big issues that are being discussed. A lot of people are asking about the wastewater treatment plant, a new police station, the high school, which we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And another one that I'm very passionate about, or as of lately, is school resource officers. That's a big one. Do you have any views on that after some of the incidents that we were dealing with?
I think more of my views are dealing with teacher salaries lately. I've been on really hearing from a lot of teachers that have left our district. And I think some of the behavior we've seen recently is because of that. I think teachers that have been here, when we went to school, I mean, every teacher seemed to be there forever already. They knew you before you knew them, because they knew a relative, or they knew you coming in the door. And I don't think our kids are getting that today, because teachers are frustrated. We're one of the lowest paying districts in the county. Teachers have a max, when they max out at their contract. Ours is the lowest in the county. And I think when you're a teacher and you can deal with a lot less headache somewhere else to make a pretty significant pay increase somewhere else in the same county, and you can go home in your life, your home life is a lot better, I think people end up going and looking for other jobs elsewhere. And then we're giving waivers for teachers who aren't qualified quite yet, whoever finished school. We had 100 something job openings before school started. So, I know your question was about the resource officer, but I think more above that I would put is, the teacher salaries and keeping teachers in our districts for longer, because I think that's important. I think that helps with kids leaving the district. We have a terrible retention rate for kids in the district. And I think ultimately that helps us keep those kind of videos that we seen the other day kind of not really happening. Fights have happened for long periods of time. We know that. We're not, we all understand this is not new, kids fighting in high school. But from what I'm hearing is it's happening a lot more than it used to. And I think that real problem starts with who those kids are seeing and interacting each day. A lot of our children in these schools see the teachers more in a school day than they see their parents or their relatives, So I think it's important that we get a solid teaching staff. And I think we have that. I'm not saying we don't have that, but we're slowly losing those people. And this year, I've heard from teachers leaving the district, and some of these teachers I hear leaving, it blows my mind that they're leaving the school that they love so much. So that I would put that over police resource or a resource officer at the school more than anything. I think that's more important. That's more what I would focus on. I know a lot of people want a resource officer and they want them now, but we have a staff shortage in the police department, so I don't necessarily see that happening anytime soon. There's a staff shortage in police officers throughout the whole country. So, I think we should focus on kind of the things we can address right now. And I think what we can address right now is how we're paying our teachers.
I mean, that is a good point, because my view on the resource officer is mainly because if you have a public building with hundreds and hundreds of people in it, you would obviously have some type of, I don't want to say security, but law enforcement in a way, or a trained professional there in the event in a public arena that there's, especially with children in it. But I think you got a great point there, because like with any business, when you go in, and you're learning the ropes, they always say, well, go talk to her or go talk to him. They've been here 28 years. They know the whole system in and out. So when you have a teacher in a school that has been there and established, they know that job, they know that building, they know their students, and you're probably right. Maybe they taught their sister, brother, or even their parents. So no, that's a great point and a very, very valid.
I'm not saying resource officer or not resource officer. I just think what I was focusing on my campaign is really keeping our dedicated teachers in our district and not losing them. So that's what I want to focus on more than anything.
I definitely agree with that point. I think our teachers deserve better, and we need to retain the best for the future of Pittsfield.
Yeah.
And not just the teachers, from faculty to all of the staff too.
The faculty. There's many people in the school building itself that aren't necessarily teachers, but they also need to be treated well too.
Yeah, I'd like to see our cafeteria workers at least get up to minimum wage. That'd be nice. But yeah, that is a big one, and the other discussion with that is we're seeing the population decrease, and we've seen it countywide, and we've discussed high school about that. We're gonna need to do something. We're either gonna have to find a way to put a ton of money into PHS to modernize it, or look at some other options, because we already have this big new school. Do you have any views on that?
Well, yes. I mean, one of my biggest, I wish when we built the Conic, we built it big enough to have B1 high school. I mean, we really missed the opportunity there to, I think, save money in the long run at building one modern school for our population and what's in our school. I think we really need to look at how our schools, and these are school committee issues, but as a city councilor, I think I need to be a voice on these issues because we hear this stuff. So I know people are going to say, well, why is he talking about schools so much? He should run for city council. But this is just one of the things I'm passionate about. And I think as a city councilor, I need to be a strong voice on those kind of things. So going back to what I was saying is, I think it's important. We need to really look at how our schools are. We were talking about this earlier. Is I hear from a lot of parents that their kids, we're losing a lot of kids when they leave elementary school. They're leaving middle, they're going somewhere else in middle school, and then some of them are coming back in high school. And I hear from a lot of those parents that are basically saying, I don't feel like my kid's quite ready for the sixth grade in these middle schools. So, I would like to see a system where the elementary schools go to 6. We do a junior high school, that's a, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then we do a one high school. That's kind of the system. I think, I would like to see data on that and talk to educators, but that's what I'm hearing out there talking to the people.
I'm 100% for that. I think that personally, I think as far as to the taxpayers, it's the easiest way right now, and that would be the most effective way. And that being said, also with the again, the decline of population was countywide. And some people, I've heard things like, oh, there's not a lot to do around here and this and that. Well, we've recently seen like Milltown and in the community, and they're doing some wonderful things. I mean, what they're doing at Bosque, the former Berkshire West, which is now called like Bosque Sport or something.
Yep. Yes.
And
yep.
I was very excited to see what they're doing at the former Lakeside Christian Camp at Richmond Pond. They're basically putting in a sports complex with a new beach and everything. So have you talked to Milltown at all, or been able to communicate with them on any of these projects?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some. I mean, I just actually seen some pictures of one of the buildings on Tyler Street they rehabbed there, and they did a great job there. And we go back to saying there's nothing to do around here. There's a lot to do around here. Actually, it's we have great lakes, we have great forests, we have all these great nature activities, and now we're starting to build up. Bosque is coming back bigger and better than ever. You got someone like Milltown coming in and looking to build and do new things around Berkshire County, Pittsfield too. And the Bosque, I drive by the building once or twice a week. The new lodge, it's going to be a great place to be. I know you probably drove by this past winter. Have you seen that place busy? It was awesome to see it back to life. And those are the kind of things, that's why I voted on the water project for the new building out there and getting sewer and water out Dan Fox Drive, because I think it's important. Because when you have a base like Bosque, then you're going to see things pop up around it. So those are the reasons I voted for that one project to put things out there. So,
I would love to see Tamarack Road, the other end of it. That's a disaster. I would love to see finally something done with that, because that's, you're driving slalom in your car. I mean, there's craters in that road that are unbelievable.
And I think after this project, we will definitely, hopefully see that, because, if we have a commissioner now who pays attention to kind of projects ahead of time, and we'll wait on a road. So we don't do a road and then a couple of years later tear it up for a project. So, that's some of the slowdown people have seen on road projects. That's part of it there. But yeah, I mean, I can see that whole road. I can see a brewery popping up on that road, something like that. That's an attraction, like places like Treehouse. Like I could see something like that out there. So, exciting projects like that really, are going to be great for Pittsfield. And when we get out of this pandemic, or move on, or learn to live with the pandemic, one or the other, I think this is going to be a really great place to live and be.
Now, housing, is one that, again, we've discussed, and I've talked to a lot of people and a lot of mixed views, and I think there is a form of gentrification in the area, but I think it's in a positive way. But we can't overlook affordable housing, and that is a concern. I know nationwide there's a housing shortage, and in here we definitely struggle with that. But affordable rentals seems to be a big issue, really, to retain people, because everybody's hiring. But when you're seeing rentals now, 1,800, 2,000, around that mark, even that though a lot of these jobs are paying so well, it's still for a single person, you're looking at 75 to 85 grand a year if you have a car payment, rent, and groceries to be able to afford that. Do you have any ideas or any views on locations or where we could put affordable housing?
I think let's talk about the housing issue. We have a housing issue in general. Our housing stock is super old. It's beat up, it's old, it's struggling, right? So we have a couple of things going on. We have all the projects we are seeing are market rate housing, and those prices are up there, and everyone's sticker shock, right? Those buildings are being sold out, and they're being sold out for a reason. They're being sold out before they're even done. We need that housing too, right? And we, just like you said, we need affordable housing. We need transitional housing. That's another thing we also need. So we need to look at the big picture. I think Tyler Street area, Morningside, we're seeing these nicer kind of places pop up. I think that's a great area for mixed use populations, people who have different incomes living together. You have the market rate housing, and then you have the transitional housing. That's nice. We had some traditional housing that wasn't the greatest in Pittsfield. Traditional housing that is actually nice and people are proud to live in. Same with affordable housing. I think people need to be proud of these projects. And so how these projects get done is developers get incentives, and the state and federal government has been slacking on giving developers incentives. So we as a city can help with those incentives, but we really need to talk to the state delegation and really get them to start moving on making incentives for developers to build the low income housing. You look at the one on Bradford Street, forget what it was called, New Amsterdam Apartments, really nice apartments, but there was an incentive for the developer to build those. They didn't just build them to build them. There's incentives, there's tax credits, and they sell those, and that's how they end up making money. So we need to make sure we find those kind of projects too, not just the market rate projects.
I definitely agree with that. I think that's going to be a key to getting employees back in these businesses, because I know a lot of people have different views on that, but there's not a business in Pittsfield that you could go to right now where they're not hiring. I mean, everyone is.
Yeah, and that's all over the country. Everyone hears it every day. There's all the there's openings, but we can be the people leading the charge on fixing that, right? And I think creating housing that people are proud to live in, neighborhoods people are proud to be in. And I think Tyler Street and Morningside is like prime to be that location where you have a mixed use of people of all incomes living together, going to the parks together in the neighborhood, shopping at the same stores together. I think that's important. That's what builds community.
I agree. Well, in closing, I guess what would you say to your constituents on why they should reelect you, and what's the best way for them to contact you if they have any questions?
All right. So I think, I rely on my record and my votes that I've taken. Every vote I take, I believe is what's best for the residents of Pittsfield, what people tell me they want to hear or things they want to see happen. And I look at the bigger picture when I look at things, and I go into meetings and I don't just have my opinion. I look at the information, form an opinion, but I also listen to my colleagues, listen to their arguments, and I make what I think is the best decision to move Pittsfield in the right direction where people want to see it go. So that's why I asked for your vote on November 2nd. So people can reach me on my Facebook page, Persip for Pittsfield @gmail.com, one of those two, or my phone number is 413-281-4909.
And do you have a campaign page, or is it just your name?
No, we just did the Facebook page this year. I didn't want to go out and raise a ton of money for a campaign. I don't want to ask people for donations in a year of a pandemic. So that was a cost savings that we just cut. That I think people use Facebook more anyway. So, and I think people, like I said earlier, being a person that's asking for reelection, people already kind of know how to get a hold of you. So Facebook's the best way.
Okay. Well, Earl, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to do this, and I hope to get you on one or two more times before Election Day.
You let me know when, sir.
Awesome. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, I'll be at Park Square if you want. If you're around, between 5 and 6:30, if you want to stop by and say hi. It's in support of
Okay.
our resource officers, but it's a community event too. So, and
All right,
hopefully,
thank you so much.
hopefully I won't be the only one there this time.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Earl, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.